Hello and welcome to the Knitting podcast, my podcast about knitting and finding joy in every stitch and getting cozy in your hand knits. I'm Lena and I'm coming to you from my home in Helsinki, Finland. I'm a knitwear designer, a tech editor, and also assist woolly entrepreneurs in other ways. But this podcast is mostly about my free time knitting, the knitting that I do just for me, just because I want to. And that sounds silly. I also do the designs because I want to. But I hope you get my meaning. Today's episode, I'm guessing, will be short and sweet. I don't have that much to show you, but I did want to check in and have a little chat with you and share where I'm at with my current WIPs. So one finished object, but since that's my own design, I'll put it at the end. So let's just jump right into the WIPs. This is the one that's seen the most progress. Just at an awkward stage with the stitches on the stitch holders. So this is my Trace That Sweater by Jennifer Steinges. And it's from issue 3 of Line magazine. I don't have the magazine here now with me because you can already see quite well what the sweater is going to look like. So the pattern is available in that print issue and also as an individual pattern on Ravelry. Yes. So the last time you saw this, I was still working on the colorwork yoke. And now I've separated for the sleeves and the body, and I'm zooming right along on the body. Actually, I've already done the waist shaping or the decreases, and now I'm on the hip shaping, the increases part. And yeah, really, really loving this. The yarns that I'm using are Let Lopi. This is a worsted Aran weight, 100% Icelandic wool, I think, yeah. And it's the woolly wool kind of wool. So the pattern has 4 colors. These are my contrast colors or the colorwork colors, and my main color is this. This is color number 1420. Sorry, all the labels from the others have gotten mixed up and I can't remember what these are, but I do have these stashed in my Ravelry stash. So there you can check the number for the green, the pale gray, and the brownish gray, if you're curious. But the main color is 1420. And I think when I inserted it to Ravelry, it also gave it a name, something like murky brown. So whereas the other colors are quite solid, this one is sort of tonal. It has different shades of brown in it. Don't know if the camera picks up on that. Right, so really enjoying knitting this. The colorwork part was easy. It does have a few rounds where you have 3 colors, and those are always a bit slower for me to knit. The yarns get tangled up, and so I only use yarns in my one hand. So all of the yarns are here, and I'm trying to keep them in order on my finger. So that does slow me down a bit, but only a few of those, so it wasn't too bad. And I think my stitch gauge is quite spot on. My row gauge is slightly longer or larger than the one in the pattern. I find that I've knit with Let Lopi once before, a color work pattern, and the same thing happened there. I knit, can't remember, I think I showed them in the podcast like last winter or even earlier. I knit color work mittens out of Letlopi, and they turned out really, really long, so I couldn't wear them myself. I gave them to my partner, and they're a bit too long for him either, for him as well, that's what I mean. But it hasn't caused problems, the roll gauge being different or the round gauge being different hasn't caused problems so far, since I did fit all of this into the measured length given. So it was fine. And of course here you also use measurements pretty much. So it's working out fine. Yeah. And this leads me on to my other WIPs. Seriously, I could have just knit on this. I haven't gotten bored with this once. I haven't lost steam on it, so I could have just solely knit on this. But I did actually cast on 2 other projects. One of them is the Memory Keeper's hat. I just released it on the 9th of November. And that's also the date that we kicked off the Memory Keepers Knit Along. You can watch the separate video of that. If you're interested in joining, do join. But I wanted to cast on yet another Memory Keepers hat project because I really love knitting these. And I do have minis. So this one is going to be a Christmas gift. And I cast on for the smallest size. And I'm really, really loving this. So I'm using a purple Araucania Ranco Solid as my background color, and then adding minis. This is the current one. Mini skeins that I've gotten from different places and different people. And this is, like I've said before, this is very addictive to knit. And again, I started this on during the weekend, and I seriously could have just knit this and had it done. Well, but there are 2 reasons why I didn't do that. One, I'm not in a hurry to finish this. The knit along lasts until the end of the year, so if you haven't joined yet, there's still plenty of time, even if you want to knit the Memory Keeper shawl. But the main reason why the progress on both of these has stopped is my next WIP. And that is a pair of vanilla socks. Let me just put this on the blocker so you can see it better. But I'm knitting this for my grandmother. So I knit those. I knit a pair out of fingering weight yarn for her a few weeks, a couple of months ago, and she really liked them. But last weekend, I got a message from my mom saying that the socks are too small for my grandmother. She's very seriously ill right now, so her feet have swollen. And she couldn't get those on. Also, the strength in her fingers is going. So she couldn't get those socks on anymore, since I'd made them sort of tight-fitting so that she could wear them in shoes as well when she's going out. She couldn't get those on anymore, so I wanted to knit a new pair. But since I'm really busy at the moment, and like I said, she's very ill, I just wanted to cast on something that I could finish as soon as possible. So I started a new pair, just plain vanilla socks, and this is sport weight yarn. And this is where I've gotten to. I'm knitting this with 2.5 millimeter, that's US 2 needles. And as you can see, this is the blogger that I normally use for my socks, so it's definitely loose here. There's even though this is unblocked. So these are not going to be shoe socks, but she can pull these on when she's at home. And the yarn that I'm using is Vuorelman Veto. It's a Finnish sport weight sock yarn, 75 wool, 25 nylon. Again, I don't have the ball band or the tag for this. I've taken this up, I guess 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I don't know. But I used this for a pair of socks that I knit for my partner. I used it on the toes and the cuff. So this has been sort of started. But there was like 80 grams left, so enough definitely for a pair of socks for my grandmother. So I still need to work on the foot a bit before starting the toe decreases and then the second sock, but I should have this done pretty quickly. So this is my main project right now. I cast these on 2 nights ago, so I haven't had that much knitting time as I would have liked, but I'm making progress. But the other whips are gonna have to wait until these socks are done. I actually have the same yarn in dark blue that I got from the craft fair in Tampere last year. 3 skeins of it, so 300 grams of this. And I'm gonna do it so that I hold the yarn double. I'm gonna get really thick slipper socks. That's the plan. I'm sticking to it. Don't know when I get to it, but that's the plan. It hasn't changed. So those are my 3 whips. Then I wanted to bring this out again. This is my Memory Keepers. No, sorry. That's my Cozy Memories blanket, or the beginnings of it. I showed this last episode and wondered and asked your opinion on what I should do with this, because this is too colorful for my home. And someone commented and said that I could do this as a charity quilt. So just finish it and give it to a charity. And I don't know why I didn't think of that myself. That's a brilliant idea and exactly what I'm gonna do. So I'm not going to make it into a large quilt. I think this could be the length, and then just add some rows and make it into a sort of a baby quilt, and then give it to a hospital or whatever charity I can find that would like it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I can use any scraps that I have. It'll be nice and colorful. I'm not saying that I don't like this, I'm just saying that I don't like it in my home. I don't know. It's too colorful for my taste, but I think most people will find it nice. So yeah, that's the perfect way to use up my mini skeins and scraps and not have this go to waste either. So that's what I'm gonna do. And once that's done, I'll see about starting a new one for myself, for charity. So yeah, really happy with that decision. All right, then on to the one finished object that I had. Now I don't always share my whips or my design projects here before they're published, but this is the hat that I was knitting on the Knit With Me video that I did at the end of October. I just cast on for that and was knitting the brim, and here it is. It's a colorwork hat. It's gonna be called Cinnamon Stars. I named it after the inspiration. Oh, I can see I made a mistake there. Look at that. Is that why it's pointing out my errors? Anyway, the inspiration for this came from an orchid called Oncidium twinkle. It has these tiny brownish purple red flowers cascading down, and it smells of cinnamon. It's really gorgeous. And I saw it at an orchid fair and actually bought a small plant of it for home, but it hasn't flowered since it's just green. But that smell and those flowers, they stayed with me, and I knit them up into this hat. Now, sadly, no orchid smell here, but a nice sheepy woolly smell. I used Rauma Fennel Garn for this. And I'll talk about this more once the pattern is released, but I just wanted to show you that I have been knitting a little bit on something else as well besides my WIPs, and I have finished something. And like I said, while I do try to keep my work knitting during working hours, which I'm putting in quotation marks since I only work for myself and I do have clients, but I only work for myself at home, so I can pretty much work anytime I want. I do still try to stick to the working hours, since that's when the house is empty with my son being in school and my partner being at work. So that's the best time for concentration. So I do try to fit in my design knitting during those hours as well. Doesn't always work. So the evenings and weekends would be for other knitting, but still it seems that the design knitting seeps into the other knitting times, and I feel like sometimes they make so little progress on my other WIPs. And I did have a bit of happy mail come in as well, so I'm still subscribed to this Finnish magazine. It's called Taito. And it's not just a knitting magazine, it's about handcrafts and entrepreneurs, people working with handcrafts. It does have a couple of patterns. Like there is an embroidery pattern and a knitted sweater by Anna Johanna. And actually this one also has a pair of socks. So all of these are really pretty. But for me, the main part of this magazine, the reason that I'm subscribing and I love reading it is all the other articles. They have some columns here by different handcrafters. They have pages where they're collected the latest books. And then the interviews, like this one with a person who does clay work. I just find, as an entrepreneur in the handcraft industry, I just find it really inspiring and encouraging to read about other people's careers. And even though I'm not selling what I'm making and the people in this magazine are, it's still within the same industry, and they're so very inspiring. So yes, love that magazine. Really glad I subscribed to it. If you read Finnish, do check it out. Alright, I think that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Oh, and do check out, I just posted a tutorial video. This is the first tutorial I've ever done. I'm quite nervous about it, but I just thought it would be a good idea to have some simple voiceless tutorials on the techniques used in some of my patterns. I'm going to film one every now and then and post it. So keep an eye out for those, and if there's something specific you'd like a tutorial on, do let me know. I'll see what I can do. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon again. In the meantime, let's keep in touch and happy knitting. Bye!